Hi comic book fans. So today I thought I'd do a little video about comic book grading, and we're going to grade this Tales to Astonish number 74 starring Submariner and the Hulk. So the first thing I'd say is when you're grading comics is to assess the overall condition of the book, just from an aesthetic point of view, from your own point of view. So if we look at this book, I would say, it's got quite a lot of spine ticks down here. It's got a bit of color rub on the cover. There's a little piece missing. There's a bit of edge chipping here. There's a bit of color loss here. If we look at the back, there's a bit of somebody's scribbled on it here, and there's a bit of a loss of the back cover here. Right. The other thing that I think it's important to do when you're grading a comic is just to check it's all there. So I like to open it up at the center page and have a look at the staples. Are they attached? Yes, in this case they are. Are they in good condition? Yes, they are. Okay. The other thing you need to do is to just quickly check that there's no missing pages or things that have been cut out of it. Now, another thing to note is the colour, and you can see here this cover is significantly browned. Okay, so this has aged quite a lot. It hasn't yet gone brittle, but it's not far away. The internal pages are better. I think I would describe them as off-white. So I'm just checking here to see if we've got anything missing or anything cut out. So far so good. Nice page here. No, all looking okay so far. I quite like this, the end of the quest, Imperious Rex, a really nice full page name or picture. So we've got to the center pages, there's nothing amiss at this stage. Then we've got the Hulk story, the wisdom of the Watcher. So we've got the Watcher and Hulk. Looking okay. So you can see there's some tanning here to these pages. Nothing amiss so far. All looks to be present and correct. We've got the leader. Here's the guy with the huge forehead. Yeah, so there's nothing cut out. Sometimes these things can be cut out. They're not. It's all intact. All the pages are there. Okay, so I'm going to give you... So, I've been collecting comics for over 40 years. Right, grading for me. So is this a high grade? No, it's not a high grade. Is it a really poor grade? No, it's not a really poor grade. There is nothing majorly wrong with this comic. Probably the major fault on this is the browning of the cover pages. This crumbling here of this top right hand corner. But other than that, it's a pretty nice. I haven't pressed this yet. I have cleaned this up with some Immaculate Clean. So it's a pretty decent low to mid grade is my initial impression. Okay, so I'm thinking somewhere 3.5, 4, or a 4.5. Okay, so I'm just going to, I've got a couple of things I've printed out here that I do use to help me grade. One is the Overstreet comic book grading definitions. Now, some people claim these are a bit out of date and CGC don't use these as rigorously, but I still find the general descriptions in here quite useful, especially for these sort of mid grade. So if we start off and start saying, okay, let's go with a 4.0. Let's read the Overstreet description of 4 and see if this comic meets that description. So it says the average used comic book. Well, you know, this comic is from 1964. 1965, December 1965. So it's 56 years old, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair comment. This is, I would say, this is an average used comic book. So far, so good. The comic in this condition shows some significant moderate wear. Yes, it does. We've got wear down here. We've got a little bit of colour rub. But still has not accumulated enough total defects to reduce its eye appeal to the point that is not a desirable copy. Well, I think this is still a desirable copy. The eye appeal for me is still good. So I think we're still looking at a 4. Cover shows moderate to significant wear. Yep, I think that's reasonable. Can have an accumulation, wait a minute, and may be loose but not completely detached. Well, this isn't loose or detached at all. Moderate to extreme reduction in reflectivity. Well, actually, this comic's got quite a lot of gloss left. I don't know if you can pick it up. Yeah. So this has got quite a lot of cover gloss left. So I'm pretty happy on that front that we're well into a 4. Can have an accumulation of creases or dimples. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't got a lot of creases, to be honest. In fact, it hasn't got any creases. It has got quite a lot of, well, it has got some creases. It's got some spine ticks down here. Corners may be blunted or abraded. Yeah, I mean, the corners are a bit blunted and a bit abraded, especially the one at the back. Store stamps, name stamps, arrival dates, initials have no effect on this grade. Well, it hasn't got any anyway. Some discoloration. On the cover, no, but yeah, definitely on the internal pages, there is some discoloration. Fading foxing, or even minor soiling is allowed. Well, there isn't really any soiling. As much as a 1/4 inch triangle can be missing out of a corner or edge. Okay, so if we go back to what I think is the major fault on this comic, is a bit of missing edge, and this is allowable in a 4.0. So I think we're still okay for a 4.0. Only minor unobtrusive tape and other amateur repair allowed on otherwise high-grade copies. No, well, there's no tape or repair as far as I can see. Moderate spine roll may be present and or a 1-inch spine split. Well, the spine's pretty intact here, and we haven't got any sellotape repairs, so that's fine. Staples may be discoloured. No, staples are fine on this. Minor to moderate staple tears and stress lines can be present. Well, yeah, we do have stress lines around the staples. No tears though, as well as some rust migration. There's no rust. Paper is no worse than brown, but not brittle. Yeah, I think we're still okay. The paper is browning, but it's not brittle. A minor acidic odour can be detected. Yeah, it's got that old comic smell. Minor to moderate tears may be present. No, we haven't got any tears. And centerfold may be loose or detached at one staple. No. Okay, so I think we're at least a 4.0. The question I've now got is, could this be a 4.5? So let's just read what it says about 4.5. Fits the criteria for very good, but with an additional virtue or small accumulation of virtues that improves the book's appearance by a perceptible amount. Okay. I think that there's a few things about this comic that I could argue move it into that 4.5 grade. The first is that we've not got any creases. We've not got any tears. The staples are well attached and are not loose. We've got a lot of surface shine left on this comic. So my view is that this has moved up to a 4.5 in my opinion. Okay. Let's just see where this falls down. I don't think this is a 5.0, but let's just have a look at the Overstreet description for a 5.0. So I think this is a VG plus. Let's just have a look at the 5.0 description from Overstreet. An above average but well used comic book. A comic book in this grade shows some moderate wear. Eye appeal is somewhat reduced by accumulation of defects. Still a desirable copy, but has been handled with care. Okay. An accumulation of bindery defects is allowed. Minor to moderate cover wear apparent. Yeah. Inks have major to extreme reduction. Well, this hasn't. Blunted corners are increasingly common. Staples may show a slight accumulation of, in rare cases, a comic was not so. Any staple, fine to vintage staples, very fine to near minimum. Right, I think the reason I wouldn't upgrade this to a 5 is because of the browning. This has got quite extreme browning on the cover, and in my view, I'm going to put some micro chamber interleaving paper in here, which will hopefully reduce the continued deterioration of these covers. So the reason I'm not giving this a 5 is because of the browning, because of this this corner on the back. But I'm going to grade this comic therefore as a 4.5. This isn't the type of comic that I would ever submit for slabbing. You know, these are in my personal collection. I do like to to look at my comics. I like to open them up and I like to look at the panels. You know, you can't do that if it's in a slab. So, you know, this isn't, I'm not grading this for, the reason I would grade this is because I do want to know its approximate value. So what I would now do is, I'm going to say this is a 4.5. I would therefore have a look and work out what graded 4.5s go for. I would then say I generally if it's unslabbed, I would then say generally, as a rough rule of thumb, I would downgrade it 1 grade to give it a financial value for my personal valuation. So I would look at the fair market value of a 3.5 on Go Collect, which is graded, and I would give it that value for my personal collection valuation. Okay, comic book fans, I hope that's been of interest. There we go. We've graded a Submariner, not a Submariner, a Tales to Astonish, number 74, Submariner and the Hulk, dating from December 1965. And I have graded this as a 4.5. Anybody's got any major disagreements with my grading, please put them in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear your views. Enough said.